I just want to thank Anna and Jeremy and the Formulated By team for having me. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm a designer, as it says on the slide. So I know that's weird. I'm an ambassador from the other side. We've been hearing a lot from Randy and Patrick and Bohan about how data is about communication, how it's about teams. So I am here representing a team that's under considered. I'm a designer. You probably don't think about the design team that often. We're like the Brooklyn Nets of your organization. We're just like down in the ranks. I was telling my mom that I was coming here to a data science conference, and she was like, do you think they want to hear from designers? I was like, don't know, Mom. I guess we'll find out. So here I am, and I'm really excited to be here with you. So I know everyone's really excited about slides. I put my slides up here if you want to follow along. It's on my website, lexroman.com/UX of data. So I'm Lex. I'm a product designer. I work at a company called the Black Tux in Santa Monica. You'll be shocked to know that we're hiring. So if you're interested in working near the beach, please let me know. But I'm not only a product designer. I am a designer who focuses on growth. And if any of you know anything about growth, you know that it is founded on data. So by the nature of my work, I have gotten incredibly involved in data. And I've worked with all kinds of organizations. I used to be a consultant, so I've worked with large companies like Toyota and Macy's. And then I've also worked with startups. And I've noticed gaps at all of these kinds of organizations, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm seeing this disconnect happening between data teams and everyone who's not on data teams. Oh, I forgot I put some animations in here. Thanks, Keynote. All right, so I'd just like to start with a story. A while back, I worked at a startup. In this scenario, I am product person. And I went to our data scientist and I said, hey, I'd really like to know why people aren't converting at this step, right? Data people love that. So like, I just want to know, like, people are clicking on this, but they're not clicking on that. Like, how do I find that information? And he said, you know what, that sounds cool, but like, I don't have time. I'm like making revenue charts for the CEO, pretty busy, machine learning, NLP, blah, blah, blah. Like, can't help you. And so we were at a standstill. I couldn't get the information that I needed to do my work, and I didn't care about his projects because I couldn't make it actionable in my work. So we were just totally separate in this organization and could not help each other in any way. And as I mentioned, I've seen this over and over again in organizations. And as we've heard today and yesterday, I'm not the only one that's experiencing this. I'm seeing this with everyone in organizations that I work with. So on this side, we have the non-technical, tend to be less technical folks. And on the other side, we have the more technical folks. And I'm seeing that there's not a shared language, not shared understanding happening. So if the people on the left can't get the information to do their best work, they can't improve the business. And if the people on the right can't connect with their work, then the people on the left don't value the data work, right? If I don't understand this incredible machine learning model that you've built, and I can't use it in my work, then I don't value your work, and I don't understand how we can work together. And worse off, if I'm in leadership at that company, then I don't hire more data people. I don't leverage data. I don't value it. And I've seen data teams just completely go away in those scenarios. And I really believe in the value of your work, so I'm here to plead to you to help me fix this gap. So one thing that I see when we have these like silos in organizations is people develop their own solutions, right? So the marketing team grabs Google Analytics, everyone's favorite tool. It's my least favorite tool. The support team has Zendesk, right? And they have their own built-in analytics because no one let customer support in on the data, so they just went ahead and built it in. And then the data team has their BI tools, and they make their own tools. The product team's using Google Tag Manager, Mixpanel. I love Amplitude. That's what we're using. You know, someone picks a different SQL editor. Someone's got like Mode, and then we have Looker, and it's like all these different tools, and everyone's like, I don't know where that thing is, but I can just tell you what I look at, and it is a huge mess. Does this sound familiar? Like, who has like dealt with this at their company? Yeah. Okay. Great. Good. It actually like keeps me up at night. So I really would like to encourage you to think about how people on your team experience data. And I'm a designer, so I'm approaching this through the lens of experience, and I'm encouraging you to do the same. Oh, I really overdid it on the animation. So I have 3 sort of practical buckets of ways that I think you can help bridge this gap. And as the people with the data, you hold the keys. So I've been giving this talk to designers and product managers who are like, yes, yes, we want to get in on the data. So I'm here to say, hey, we really need your help. For those of you who are on the technical side, here's some of the things that we'd like to see. So let's talk about roles. So here's another story for you. Wayne from marketing says, I wonder how many people click on the homepage and then go to this page and sign up, right? Typical marketer. But I have no idea where to get that data, so I guess I'll just make something up and suck at my job, which is like, I see this happen all the time, and as a designer, I see designers doing this. Well, it'd be so cool if we could use data, but like, I don't know where it is, so guess I'll just make it up. Every single day, and it is just like, breaks my heart. So we gotta help Wayne out, right? One of the challenges here is that he probably doesn't know who to go to. So if that data is in his organization, it probably is, let's hope it is, it's 2019, he doesn't know who to ask. So is it a product person? Is it a data person? Which data person is it? And it obviously depends on the company that he works for. So I think one thing that would be great to see from people that are in charge of setting up the data infrastructure or even just choosing tooling would be defining who does all these different things. Who helps with this stuff? If Wayne needs help with Google Analytics, who does he go to? Maybe it's not the data team. Maybe it's someone on the marketing team. But having these conversations about who QAs data, who's in charge of reporting things out, who's in charge of teaching others how the system works, it's critical to be having these conversations. And then to make that really clear when people join your team. So some of the ways that you can develop these roles, you can do it through one-on-ones. You can just hold one-on-ones with different people who you think might be interested in helping. You can just choose. If you're the head of data somewhere, you can just choose. Just say, Jerry's in charge of this. Sally's in charge of that. You can make better org charts with more rich information about what people actually do, what roles they serve. And as a person coming from startups, I'm very sensitive to like having way too much to do. So just try one thing, just anything. Go back to this list. If you just make one of these things more clear at your company, you will be ahead of the game, right? So like, just small bits at a time. And now Wayne knows who he can go to. He knows that he can go to Jeremiah on the marketing team who can help him with Google Analytics. And isn't that great? Because it's not your problem. So the other thing that we can look at is passive information, right? As data practitioners, there's a lot of information that is communicated through interfaces, through language. And this is a really good one if you don't like to talk to people. So Sophia from product, she says, hey, I'd really like to know how MRR is being calculated. Like I'm looking at this dashboard, just don't really know where this data is coming from, kind of hinging every decision I'm making in my next raise on this dashboard, and I don't get it. Is this right? Who knows? So she's like, I have no idea, and now I'm very frustrated because I can't get my raise. So, and I see this happen a lot where people are like, don't trust the data. They can't follow the trail. They don't know who to ask. They can't see in the tool the pathway to get to that raw data. So some ways to look at this is, first of all, choose tools that the team understands. The example that I showed was actually pretty nice UI, but you guys have seen some gnarly data UIs, right? It's just like really not cute and just like hard to look at. The text is small, data overload. So think about the tools that you're choosing for people to look at reports. Think about the communication tools that you're using, the platforms that you're using. This is a good example. So on the left here, we have what I think is a pretty nice looking chart. It's they're all grouped by theme. They're pretty clear. It's clear what's happening. This is the weekly retention rate by week. And then on the right, we just have like charts. And it's just like data, right? This is why I hate Google Analytics. It's just like all the stuff. See if you can make sense of it. And this is what we want to avoid. We want to, intentionally, show that data and make it sort of dummy-proof, right? It's like MRR, here's how this is calculated. Want to know more? Contact Wayne. So humanizing your data, making it really clear, make the tool really clear, make the information in the tool really clear. Just remember that you're dealing with people. Humanizing naming, so the individual pieces of data. My expertise is on the behavioral analytics side. I'm constantly blown away by what people name their behavior, like their events. There just makes no sense sometimes. Like, this is a good one, just like, when people don't understand the data, they just make their own thing and send it into the system, right? And it's just like, oh, we have like checkout and checkout complete and purchase completed. And it's like, which one's right? They don't agree, who knows? So making things really just like dead simple, like this is what this thing is. This is what I would say out loud to someone that this thing is. A customer checked out, so that thing is called checkout. Like, think about the people that are reading this information. This is just like a very tangible example from Airbnb, which has gotten a lot of props at this conference, so huge shout out to them. If I'm defining what these things are called, I'm just going to call them what I would call them to customers. That way we have a common language across the organization. Anyone can understand. Searched experiences. It's hard to misread that data point, right? I know that is people that searched experiences. Same thing in all of the details of the data, just making it really transparent what this information is. So you have your tools, you have your humanized naming conventions, you're like well on your way to this beautiful system that everyone in your company can read and understand. Another thing that we could all do, and any of you who work on like data platforms can do, is make it easier to put the definitions and instructions like right there next to the stuff. This is an example from my favorite behavioral analytics tool, Amplitude. So they have a taxonomy built into their platform. If I hover over something, it tells me what it means. It's like so great. That's so great. This is like a recent addition though, right? Like we don't see this. It's certainly not built in if you guys have proprietary tools. You have to build this in. But just putting all that information like right there so that people don't misunderstand it, so that they can just get right involved in the data and actually use it in their day-to-day work. So now Sophia, she's got this amazing system. She can see how MRR is calculated. She can see the definition right there in the platform. She can do her job, and she got her raise. Isn't that great? All right, lastly, and we've been talking about this a bunch. I think, Randy, I think you mentioned this, and I know Patrick talked about this. How can we build capabilities in our organizations? You don't have to be Facebook to do that. I've worked at 10-person companies that have been doing this. So how can you help level up your teammates, especially your non-technical teammates, but even your technical teammates? So Gerald from design, don't you just love these Google emojis? Like, who designed these? Just like uneven eyeballs? I love it. Gerald from design is just like, oh, I just hate numbers, like data, blah. I like colors and fonts, and I just like don't care about numbers and don't care why the business pays me. And it's like, this is such a bummer. Gerald, don't you want to know how your work has impact? Like, of course you do. Of course you do. It's just that you've been presented with this like sort of confusing lens on data, and you've been told that it's like not your problem. And this is a total bummer. It does not have to be this way. If someone like Gerald doesn't understand data, they don't use data in their work, they don't value data. So they don't value what you do. And that is soul crushing, and it's bad for business. Like, we know that data is valuable for businesses. That's why we're all here. That's why our company's paid for us to come to this conference. So we want our teams to understand and use data. This was also mentioned. So Airbnb has their own internal data university. I don't know if anyone here has been through that. It sounds super cool from the outside, but they will train you at different levels to use their data. So everything from just like literacy, just know what we've got, to like actual programming. They'll teach you, I think like some people genuinely become data scientists through this. This is an article they put on Medium. It's a great model to look at. And as I said earlier, if you're at a smaller company than this, start with a talk, start with a lunch talk, start with a Slack message, start with a blog post. Anything you do is better than nothing. So think about like how can you include people? How can you reach out to the marketing team and just like check in with them, see what data they're using, how much they understand about what you do, like build that bridge. IDEO also talks about this. I don't know if you guys have read this article. This is from 2014. But they talk about their culture of helping. And the whole idea is that everyone is empowered to help each other. So it's not just about your job, it's about the value you provide to the greater organization, which happens through helping others also provide value to the organization. So that's sort of how I like to conceptualize this. It's like, how can we help each other strengthen data in the organization, right? Strengthen the role of data and the value there. Encourage people's questions. Let people ask dumb questions that don't make sense to you. Empower your teammates to answer questions and to be available for this kind of stuff. Someone, was it Stan, was it you, said that their team has office hours? So like that's a great idea, having data office hours. That's an awesome idea. Stuff like that, just these little entryways that allow people to get involved. Daryl to design, he's so psyched because now he's been to this tutorial, he read your blog post, he knows who to talk to, and he's way more empowered to do his work. And that's truly exciting. So I just want, again, to implore you to think about how your team experiences data, to help them get more involved. It's up to us to fill this gap. I'm trying, a lot of us are trying, and I'm here to encourage you to try as well. Please think about the data experience. Here are some ways to do that: the roles, the systems, the capabilities you can build in your organization. We'll love to talk to anyone about how to do this or specific challenges you're facing. We all want to value your work. We want you to be working on these complex projects. We don't want you to have to pull reports on clicks on the buttons. I know you're sick of that. So let's get this foundation there so that we can all do more interesting work. People will be empowered. That's it. Thank you.